I'm
Well, hello everybody. If you're catching the replay, that's great. We've got the wonderful Kathy Mitchell with us, who is from home office. Kathy, tell us where are you joining us from?
I live in Dallas, Texas now. I'm a Colorado girl transplanted to Dallas, and I guess only for Debbie Bolton would I have moved to Dallas. Nothing wrong with Dallas, but I did love Colorado a lot. Grew up there.
Oh, are you close to Amy Kedora over there?
She's in Boulder, so I was in outside of Denver, so we were about an hour apart. Yeah, she lives in, Boulder is right at the mountains there, which is beautiful. I just got to look at them every day from.
So to give us a little context, do you want to let them know a little bit about your journey with Norwex? Because I know that when I was first around as a leader, I'd be on trips and people would talk about Kathy Mitchell, and I didn't know who Kathy Mitchell was because really you didn't deal with Canada too much back then. So some may
Yeah,
not be as familiar with you. So do you want to maybe let us know a little bit about your Norwex journey and what brings you here with us?
sure, absolutely. And I'll kind of back it up a little bit more just so you know that I am one of you. I started, gosh, when my kids were 2.5 and 5 in a direct selling business and just built a very successful business, partying and bringing new team members on and promoting leaders and having an amazing time with that. And so my son, who was 5, will be 40 in November. So that will tell you how long I've been in direct sales. It has been a minute and a half. So I spent 7 years in the field, just building a top team in the company. It's a little company called Tupperware, so you might have heard of it before. And then I owned my own Tupperware franchise for 7 years, so about 14 years kind of in the field working with leaders, and then went into a corporate environment because I really wanted to work for companies that really cared about what their leaders wanted. Not that the ones I worked with didn't, but I really wanted to work as an advocate for leaders and consultants in the field because I was one of them. And so I've been with Norwex in September, will be 12 years. And I started on the same day this person named Brian Dill started. So we started together day one, hitting the ground running as regional sales managers. And we've both held multiple roles here at Norwex. And really excited that I've had the opportunity to work more closely with Canada as you are, as you know, had some things happen within the regional sales team. And my dear friend Sheila was somebody that I started working with very early on in my Norwex career. So we did a lot of life together, that wonderful woman and I, and loving working with Michelle. She's just a delightful, knowledgeable person. And you're going to have some others coming in and helping and joining you. And so, but it's been a blessing for me to be able to do this. And I will still be working with you in Director of Leadership Development. So this is what I'm passionate about, is helping leaders grow into whatever level of leadership you want to grow in. Because I think leadership is really where you can make the most impact, where you can have the most fun, because leaders are fun. Well, then there's Guylaine. She's kind of fun too. I kind of like her. Hi, Guylaine.
Hi, I love you.
I've heard you've been on some meetings with your team already tonight.
Yeah, sorry, our call went a little long. It could have gone a lot longer, but I had to
Oh,
leave it, so yeah.
oh gosh. Yeah, sometimes we just want to stay on and on and on and on. And I do want to hear about this hockey tournament
Mhm.
that I've been scoping out, like champions, right?
Oh, it's not a tournament. It's so do you know any hockey? Are we
You know
recording?
hockey,
Yes,
yes.
we are recording. Kathy is
We're
just giving
recording,
us a
so
little
I'm
bit
going
of
to talk to you
background
later about
about
that. Yep.
who
Not
she is and how she is, what her role with us now. And all that.
We're going to talk about hockey. We'll talk
Yeah,
after.
we're going to talk about that later in one of our chats. We're going to talk about hockey because I want to hear all about this. Anyway, yeah, so I just love working with leaders as being, I consider I'm still you. I just always think in the form of a leader and helping other people develop a business and do things they never thought they could do. That's one of my favorite things to do is when you see that light bulb moment come on and people start getting it and they start enjoying what they're doing in their business. And it's something that you can work as little or as much as you want to. And it all just depends on how much time you want to put in and how much money you want to make, really. But leadership is my favorite place because you just get to help people achieve things they never thought possible. And that's what a dear friend of mine named Barb. I met her at a party, never been to one before, and she just kept inviting me to join her team. And took her about 6 months, and I said yes. Finally, I don't know why, and then just kept growing a team and having a great time. So we were going to talk today about a couple of things and how much time do our
Uh, well, we could go maybe. Well, we'll see how it goes. But I was thinking we could give it maybe a half hour and then open it up to questions.
okay?
How's that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I asked Kathy to come to talk to us about something that's really real for leaders as you grow with your Norwex business, your business grows, your customer base grows, but also your team starts to grow. And I invited initially this was just going to be for sales leaders and above, but then I thought, you know what, we've got some TCs that are juggling some growing teams, so I wanted to include our team coordinators as well,
Mhm.
because this is real. What do you do as your personal business and your customer base is growing and your team is growing and you're trying to juggle that? But then there's life that is all around that is not going to slow down and is going to keep throwing curveballs at us. So, how do we juggle all that so that when life does get heavy, we don't feel like we have to throw everything else aside, but we can kind of find a way to be consistent and to keep going despite the ups and downs of all of it. So it's a pretty big topic, Kathy. What do you got to say about that?
We could spend hours on this topic because I love this topic and so there's a couple of really key things and if we want to dive into this more when we have a little more time to do it, I'm
We
happy to
can
do
take
that.
longer tonight as well. We don't have to cut off. We
Well,
can see how it goes.
I don't want to keep people longer than they were planning on because it gets
Well, I
later.
didn't tell them, so they might be expecting an
Oh,
hour,
okay.
so it's
Yeah,
fine.
it was 3 hours. We said we were going to spend about three. No, I'm kidding. Not three
Maximum
hours.
1 hour. But
We won't. But I think oh gosh, to me, maximizing your time is by building a party business for yourself. Because the best thing that I've ever done or that I've taught leaders to do is to build a party business. And when I grew up in a party business, in person was the only way to do them, right? We didn't have all of the technology and the other things that you have now. I mean, I was so excited when I got email, I couldn't even hardly stand it. So that's how, how long I've been doing this amazing business. But so much of it is still the same. It's all about building people and finding people who have a reason why they're doing their business and what they want from it. But the best way to maximize your time is to build a party business because that is a place where you can, whether you're doing Zoom parties or you like Facebook parties or whatever kind of parties you like, find a way to maximize that party because at the party, you are meeting new people, right? Because you've got a host who's doing the work for you. I love hosts. They're amazing. Pamper your hosts, fall all over your host coach them well. But your host is bringing you your next new customers, right? And these are things you know already, but it is a great way to have a host working for you with you that you can reward with amazing gifts who's going to bring you customers, their friends and family, acquaintances, coworkers that you've never met before. So you've just grown your business from this one person to however many people are coming into the party and meeting you and falling in love with Norwex, because that's one amazing thing about Norwex is we have incredible products that every single household, every single person needs. And welcome, Marilyn. It's nice to see you jumping in. So that to me, and what I've seen over all of these years, is the people that balance their businesses the most really work their party to build their business, to build their personal business, to grow beyond their. Hi, Marilyn, it's nice to see you. Um, so at your party, you guys know what you're doing, right? You're selling product, you're meeting new people, you're booking parties, and that's the one thing that the more you do, the better you get at it. How many of you remember when you did your first parties? If you may not have been as awkward as me, but I stood there in front of 5 of my friends who held my first party, and I looked at the product on my table and I looked at all of them, and I'm an introverted person by nature, never sold anything in my life. So because I really like Barb is why I started a business, and I'd never met her before the party I met her at. And I thought I was going to be ill. I literally thought, I don't know anything about these products. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. But 2 people booked a party, and mostly because I was very eloquent and said, okay, 2 of y'all have to do this because I don't know how to go beyond here. So I'm calling the friend card, right? I did that at my party, right? And from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing. So you do it scared sometimes. Um, but those 2 parties, I sold a little bit. I booked those 2 parties and then really worked to book more parties from every single party I had by doing great host coaching. So when you're working your party, my goal was 2 parties a week. Every single week, I worked really hard to have 2 parties a week and did what it took. And I would have to call away from it to get my goal of 2 parties. So another important thing is just having your goal. What is your goal? What is your party goal? And for me, it backs up into why am I doing this? So I hope you all have a strong why. And sometime if we want to spend more time, we can get into, really talking about why you want to do this business. What is that reason? And I write it down and I stick it up in front of me, because on the challenges that come into your business, right, or into your day, I wanted my why just right in front of me to remind me, okay, this was a challenge, but this is why I'm doing it. And that would charge me up and keep me fueled. I also, with my why, I wanted a few reasons why. Why is that why? Well, for Norwex, it can be, I've got to get these products in everybody's home, because whatever your story was before you had Norwex and your story now, that's a strong why. I want to help people get our products for free, or whatever your why is. Really think about it and spend a little time in it and put it up in front of you, because that's the one of the fuel pieces that keep you moving forward. And then another important part for you and for everybody I worked with as a host or as a consultant on my team or a leader on my team is, first of all, starting with your why, because people buy into your why. And I don't know if you've ever read Simon Sinek. I love him. It's they don't buy what you do, it's the why you do it, because people really buy into your passion of what your why is. But you also have to know what you want. And you probably already know this, but I've never met anyone that didn't want money. I've never had anybody say, you know what, you keep that $200 I made this month. I don't need it. We've never had anybody at Norwex not take the money that they were due off of their 35% or from their leader income. People can always do something with money, right? So when your why is strong and you know what you want with the income that you're making in your business and it correlates with your why, then people really become more invested in their business, and we tend to move through the challenges quicker and easier when we know those things. So it wasn't just for me, but it was for the people at my party, it was for my host, it was for my consultants and leaders on my team. I wanted to work my party because we were talking about Melanie about just really um, reasons why we do the things we do and really what you want and how to maximize your time in your business because you're leaders. So not only do you work with your own personal business, you're working with your team, right? So I wanted to work my parties to do all of my booking, all of get my host coaching as much as I could done there, as well as really discovering why they were wanting to book a party in that same environment. So what I would do is, figure out at your party really what you're doing to book parties and why you think that's important and what are you doing at that party to maximize your booking time. Because if we don't book them at the party, we've got to spend time outside of it, right? And so really working to really excite people about what they want. And so I'd love for you sometime this week to think about, well, what are the things that I do at my party to really talk to people about booking at the party? First thing is partnering with your host to even, I would make it fun for them, thinking, okay, so thinking of the people who are coming, who do you think is your biggest partier who's very social? Who do you think really loves our product? And I would challenge them that I would write down names. So I'd say, okay, tell me a couple of names. You know what? If when Marilyn books a party and when Michelle books a party, I have an extra gift for you. They were working with me, kind of thinking about their friends of who they would want to, and then my job is to really encourage them to do that. If I was holding Norwex parties right now, I would be all about the Safe Haven 5 and the mop. And you guys are probably about that too. And I keep it over here because I love to talk to new consultants about it. It's kind of in that corner. But I would be talking about that. And you talk about the different ways that you can get it. It's the best investment you'll ever make. And it removes over 80 chemicals from your home. It's just one of the best things you can get, and it's worth every dollar you spend for it. But you can also get it for free by being a host and just inviting a few friends in like this and just having a great evening where you're relaxing, you're having time with friends, and I could gift it to you for free. Or you can buy it tonight. And you know what I'd love to gift you with at your party is the mop. Whatever you can find to really encourage them to do a couple of different things where they're purchasing it and then leaving them enough that they want to get more for free, right? So these are things I'm sure you already know when you already do, but to me that was really maximizing and having my host help me because our hosts get more when they get bookings as well. And I loved having a booking basket that I had gifts in and I would take it to the party, or if you're doing Zoom or things like that, that they got to pick something out of this basket immediately when they had someone booking at their party. So that for the business opportunity, I love talking about the opportunity and I love talking about it from a standpoint of how this business can bless your life with income, with the extra income you want, or really even some incredible income if you want that as well. And so one thing I did when I talked about the opportunity, I would talk about a couple of things, and I would just say, so I'm just going to ask you a question. If I were to hand you $500 right now, what would you do with it? And I'm going to stare right at Melanie and say, Melanie, tell me what you would do with it. And you have to answer me.
I would pay bills.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty important thing to do. People like it when you pay their bills. All right. Alice, what would you do with it?
I would actually put it in my travel fund to visit grandchildren.
Ugh, I love that. Love it. And what I would do is usually ask two or three people. And then what I would talk about is, that's one of the things that I love doing the most is working with a team of people that we work alongside each other and we just do those kinds of things. We decide what we want and we go get it. And I would just do a little short plug, whatever it was, whatever um, I felt would be fun to share in the moment. And just more you do it, the more in the moment you just become. But I would say, if anybody's thinking about extra income that they want, I'd love to tell you a little more. But why I asked that specifically of a couple of people, when Alice and I are talking off to the side, I would say, okay, Alice, tell me about your grandchildren. And I already know you have 6. I only have 5, so you got me there. And you got more coming. Is that what you said? Oh, goodness. Um, and I'd ask you a couple questions. So where do they live? We won't play that out here. But I would say in a one-on-one conversation, you know what, I would be honored to come alongside and help you fill your travel fund to go visit your grandchildren whenever you want. What I'd love to do is just connect with you in the next day or two. What would be a better day? What is today? So I would just say, I've got some time on Wednesday or Thursday. Which day might be better for you to just kind of visit? I'd love to get to know you a little bit, talk to you about, kind of how some income would bless you, would help you fill up that travel fund, and just see if it's a fit for you. And I would set up a time to visit, and then off to the side, I would do that as well, because I found out when somebody would tell me what they would do with money, then it helps me fill a need that they have. So it was really finding a need and filling it and using the party to do that. Because Melanie and I were talking about, as a leader, there's a lot that you balance, right, in your life. And so the more you can work a party environment to do your personal business as far as booking your parties and finding your next new consultants or finding those people to have those conversations, because usually if the income opportunity wasn't for them, I could get a party from that at least, or I would get a good customer because we've connected, we've had a conversation. So find what you can do at your parties, what feels very natural to you to really be sharing and using that party for that. And of course you're selling as well. So when you can sell, when you can book, because really getting those bookings at the moment and talking about, how I'd love to just really gift you with free product. And I'd love to gift you with a just fun evening at home with your friends, or gathering together on Zoom like this, or, however you want to party. In person's always my favorite. And like I said earlier, I did 2 parties a week, every single week. And I worked so that my schedule was like that. Did I lose some? Yeah. But my goal was to hold 8 a month. And from that, I did a lot of my finding my new consultants and my new hosts. So really utilizing that's the best use of your time. And then it kind of lets up other time for you to do the other parts of your business through coaching with your leaders that you have, through finding more leaders, through coaching your new consultants and things like that. So any questions about that or thoughts on that?
I just like the idea. It is about relationships.
Mm.
It really is about relationships, and Debbie talks about community as well. We need to let them see we're interested in them as a person
Mm.
as well. Yes, as a consultant wanting to sell and sprinkle seeds, but we truly are interested in them.
Oh, I love that, Alice. My goal is to find a need and fill it, whether it's product, whether it's just social community, because some people just wanted to get together. And right now, we are really living in a society, after everything that we've been through and they're still going through, people are missing the opportunity to be together. And doing an Oryx party is a great way to be together. Um, However you're partnering, it's just a great way to connect with people again. I was reading a whole article, actually, Debbie pointed out to me through Direct Selling News, as a direct selling magazine, and it was just talking about the epidemic of loneliness, that people are just really looking to get back together again with people. And what a great way to do this. And if you think about the first party, have you all been to in-home parties before? did anybody walk in thinking, I don't know what this is about, but that was me. But I had fun and I met people and I thought it was strange when I first was starting. And then by the end of it, I'm like, oh, this was so much fun. And I barely knew the host I was going. I just had a 2.5 and 5-year-old and needed to get out of the house, right? So just people need to be together. And so this is a way that we can really allow that to happen. And then through host coaching, really making it fun for the host to want to do it. And before Gillian, so I don't forget, is I tried to make every party a double host party. So then I could maximize instead of 2 a week, I held 4 a week. And I only took 2 time slots to do it. Because what I would say is, Alice, if you booked, your wonderful friend Gillian is here, and I would say, or I would ask you who your best buddy is if they weren't at the party and say, you know, what's really fun is to host it together. You know, some of the same people, but you invite your friends, you're partying together, you're coaching together, and then you're just having a fun together. And so usually instead of 5 or 6 people, you would have 8 to 10 to 12 people at one time. And they'd get outside orders and things too. So again, maximizing my time was getting more parties in an evening and doing 4 as much as I could, 4 in a week instead of 2, but only using 2 time slots to go and do that. So Gillian, you were going to share something. Hopefully you haven't forgotten because I just rambled on all over you.
Well, I joined after the pandemic, so I don't know anything about in-home party,
Yeah.
online party. And lately being inspired by you, by Norwex, by training, by all the things being shared, I did an in-home party 2 weeks ago, and it's so easy. You walk in with 2 bags, you walk in 3 hours later with 2 bags, and
Mm-hmm.
all first-time customers. I'm working on 4 parties right now. So it's just so, well, I
Awesome, man.
wouldn't say easy, but I like the first time I did my in-home, I was standing. This one, I'm like, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna sit.
Mm-hmm.
And I did do the $1,000 bill that was laminated. People went around, did all the things, and a lady that booked with me, the host said she will never book. But this lady has Parkinson. My mom had Parkinson. We connected at a whole different level, and she says, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
She's inviting me into her home, and she's into arts. Anyways, it's gonna be a
Oh
slam.
my gosh, I love that so much. I want to hug you right now.
I do.
I'd be proud of you stepping out of the comfort zone. That's the hardest part, isn't it? Because you're kill the vendor events, girl. You know how to do
Yeah.
that. No problem. But yeah, these in-home parties are fun. And once you do them, and I'm not saying they're all fun, because I've been to some dudders, let me tell you. And then you're like, okay, that was my volunteer party for the week. So okay, I went there, I shared something great with them, and but it's just so much fun when you see those light bulbs come on because this is a product everybody needs. You know, I love Tupperware was so good to me for so many years. I barely use it anymore, and I still love them. They were wonderful to me. But um, everybody, everybody needs our product. And a demonstration shows you, like when I saw the butter demo, I'm like, come on, because I'd never had a piece of Norwex. I'd never even seen a Norwex product until I heard about the opportunity to come and work for Norwex. And I just kept saying, stop it. Are you kidding? What? You know, it's just one of those products that once you get that in. So I love that. Anybody else have any other thoughts or questions? I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh.
I'm just thinking of what at the VP Summit, Jamie Waldner had shared. So she talked about, her own journey and when life throws curveballs at you, and she has had many,
Yes,
many.
yes.
And she just said, your why has to be bigger than your excuses. And that just stayed with me. I'm like,
Mhm.
so you need to be crystal clear on your why. Like, what is really keeping you here? You know why you joined, you know why you came in the first place, but what's keeping you here?
Mhm.
What's your why? And why is that your why? And digging deeper, and why is that important to you? And as you kind of dig down to what your why is, like Kathy said, you put that on paper and you pin it to the wall so you don't forget, so that when life gets busy and you're tempted to just throw it aside because, well, I don't have time right now at all. I always tell people it doesn't have to be all or nothing. People feel like their Norwex has to be all or nothing. They go full pin, they jump right in, they go gangbusters, then they burn out, and then they're like, oh, I can't. But it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to be like full throttle to I do zero, right? There's like a happy medium in there where you can maintain and you can still grow, but it doesn't have to be double hockey stick growth all the time. And so just that thought of your why has to be bigger than your excuses. And your excuses could be 100% valid with lots of big, heavy things that life can throw at us. But it kind of keeps it in check of like, yeah, this is why I don't want to let go of this. And this is why and that is why I went to the summit this May. Like I was very close to not going at all because I'm like, my dad had just passed not long before, and I'm like, oh, I did not want to go anywhere. I didn't want to be leaving my mom right then. I didn't want to get on a plane and be talking about the business. I had no desire, but I knew I had to go. I didn't want to be disconnected for any longer. I didn't want to, I needed to be around the people for one. I wanted to be around my people and the friends that I've made over the years. And so I knew I needed the community. But yeah, that, your why has to be bigger than your excuses, whatever they are. Is that, no, there's a reason why we keep going. And every one of us has to be clear on what that is. When life gets busy and you're sitting there going, oh, it's got to be all or nothing. It's got to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. There are times where you're going to slow down a bit because life demands it. Like, I mean, when my dad was in the hospital and I was in the hospital every day and at my sister's every day, 100%, I was not going as hard with my business, but I still had amazing sales in March because the one thing I did do was I sent out emails to customers. And I was supported by my beautiful team who was able to maintain with the team, which is amazing. But that's another thing, Kathy. So my default, because I'm very passionate about leadership development and pouring into my team, my default would be, if I have a moment and life is busy, my default is to pour into my team. And I know that is not, and I have had to work really hard. So that number one should be what, Kathy?
Well, first of all, I love that you said that, Melanie. Thank you for reminding me again, because you reminded me of that, of what Jamie had said at Summit, and it's such an amazing thing to think about. I think it's kind of like I think about being a leader as if you're in a boat and it's kind of starting to go down. You got to put your own life jacket on first, or you're on a plane. They say put the air mask on yourself first so that you can be helping others through it. Because when we deplete ourselves and we don't get ourselves regrounded in our why and what we want, then it's hard to lift other people up at the same time as well. And it doesn't mean you have to be, full bore of what you were doing before, but you still have to be moving yourself forward and having wins for yourself and your personal business while you're coming alongside and doing that as well for your team members. And you're all leaders because you love people and you love helping people. That's why leaders become leaders. And you might have had some financial goals, as well, that you wanted to accomplish, because you can certainly financially earn more as a leader as well. But it's figuring out what you need to do and what you can do in the moment. Because Melanie, I've lost a dad. It's things have to be focused there, right? I mean, you have to be able to pull away and do that. And that's why I loved having a team where I wouldn't hold that party and hold the host off. I would give it to a team member and say, I've got this party here. I cannot do it, or I'd go back to, where that chain came from and get somebody or somebody on my team. I would keep those parties going as opposed to pulling them back. And that's why having a full calendar, whether you can do them or someone else can, um, keeps your business going as well. And why I looked for consultants, not just hosts at my parties, because as we know as leaders, that grows your team. And I couldn't do all the parties. When you get good, like you guys are good at booking, you can book more than you really want to hold. And so that's why keeping that going on top of building your team. I know we probably don't have time if you want to get back together sometime, but what really helped me is I put together a 10-hour plan. I had heard it from someone else, and it was 10 hours of focused business every single week that I spent on 5 key areas in my business. And I can mention them quick if you're interested in it. But
Go for it.
with my
Please
personal
do.
parties, and I was a leader who had financial goals I wanted to meet for my family. I was also a leader who just wanted to bless as many people with an income that this business could make, because I knew the importance of flexibility of time and income, because I quit my full-time job at the Department of Justice when my son was born. And I thought I can't go back. But when you cut your income down to half of what it was, right, or a little less than that, um, when my kids were 2.5 and 5, I was ready for something, but flexibility and great value for my time was really important. And there are a lot of people who were looking for that same thing. And I never knew I'd love it. I mean, you think about it, you're leaders, you love what you do, you love helping people. I had no clue it could do what it did for our family. So, but I knew I needed to focus in key areas to keep a blending, a balance of my business, because you can focus, party, focus, recruiting. You guys, we've all done that, right? Where I'm just honed in here, and then these things start falling away a little bit. So I put together this 10-hour plan, and what it was is I wanted to spend 5 segments of 2 hours each week. Now you can cut this in half to 1 hour a week. You can cut it to 30 minutes a week, but blending and balancing and focusing on these 5 key areas help you continue growing strength instead of you're just focused on one area and these other things fall apart, if that makes sense. So first of all, I went by the 10-8-2 philosophy, which you've probably all heard, but I booked 10 parties a week to hold 8. And at those 2 parties a week that I wanted to do, and if I actually was going to have 10, I would give it to somebody else, because my goal was 8. I was just going to hold 8 a month, right? So whatever your goals are, you can stick to them and be really successful. So I would hold these 8 parties, but I made myself really work hard to get 2 bookings at every party and have 2 conversations about the business opportunity from every party. Now, it could be both of the people I booked. Those are conversations. So I'm talking about the party as well as the business opportunity. But that was my goal, is that every party, I'm going to book 2 parties and I'm going to talk to 2 people about the opportunity. And that's where the what would you do with $500 took it off of me and put it on them. Because Alice, you tell me you want time with those grandkids. I'm like, I would love nothing more. Truly, you hear me from a grandma heart, would love nothing more than helping you achieve that. So I'd love to talk to you tomorrow a little bit more about it, or the next day, whatever works best for you this week, to find out a little bit more about you and then see if this might be a fit for you. So what's a good day in the next 2 days? Is Wednesday better or Thursday? We talked about that a little bit. So that was done at the party, right? But I spent 2 hours working on my personal party schedule. So that meant host coaching. It meant finding more bookings if I'd recruited a lot of people, which is a blessing. When you recruit so many people, your calendar starts to go away. So I know how to book parties. So I'd spend time filling up my calendar, but whatever, I'd spend 2 hours a week working on my personal business. Then I spent 2 hours a week on on team building, finding new consultants. So those were those conversations that the party got me, because I found it was much more fun to meet them at a party and then talk to them than trying to run through, gosh, who do I think, who did I have on my list? Or I'd go back to my list. I'd keep people, telling me now isn't a good time for you. What would be a better time for me to reach back out and just see if it's a better time for you? And I'd write them down and I would put it in my calendar for, she said, to follow back up in August. So I had it in August where I would go follow back up, but that's where I would spend that 2 hours of reaching out to connect with people about the business opportunity. And again, I did it at my parties, but then I spent time either doing the recruiting interview or, whatever I spent for that. I spent 2 hours a week training new consultants. And this, I would spend like 30 minutes on a new consultant, again, really defining their why and that what they want to do with their income and helping them get their parties lined up, get their first parties started. And I was someone, I tried to recruit my host as well. And I would give them those bookings, obviously, from the party, from that party. I took the sales because I went and did the party. You guys can do whatever you want, but my goal was 2 parties a week. So I helped them book to get going and gave them a bunch of host rewards, right? So 2 hours on new consultants, pouring into them. Some of the best time you can spend is with new consultants and group them together. There are a couple of reasons why it maximizes your time, but I love Zoom. I love Melanie. Thank you for putting us on Zoom because I just love seeing people, even if it's just your name. I love having this time together like that. So group people together for new consultants. So then you're meeting other people too that you may not even know, and they start to connect together. If you're doing that, again, you're maximizing your time. So we would brainstorm, who do you know? Who are people you feel really comfortable with? Who would be great to host some of your first parties? Who do you know that, they do everything together? Do a double host party, have them each host, whatever. And then they would interact with each other and they'd connect as well. So you can group train your new consultants, again, to maximize your time. You can group just about any of these things you're doing. So that's 6 hours we've spent so far in the week. Then 2 hours for building my group. Your group, it's one of the best places to spend your time. It's one of the places you make the most income, percentage of income. You make 5%, unless it's team coordinators under a team coordinator in your group, because there's a 5% payout in your group. So team coordinators make 3%, right? So 3% goes to the team coordinator in your group, and 2% goes to you. So, but your group is someplace that is your team. You have the most impact and effect on your group. So I would spend a concerted amount of time in your group looking for people who want something, just connecting to say, gosh, we haven't connected in a long time. I don't know if anything's changed and you're ready to pick up your business again, or you'd like to just make some fun money. One of my favorite things to do is fill up people's fun fund, because that's what tends to go, right? So if they could just even reach out and share Norwex and make a couple $100 a month, that would fill up their fun fund. So just some working through that group, looking at people, looking at their sales and seeing, oh my gosh, Sue, I haven't seen Sue in a while and she had $500. I'm going to call Sue and go, what's going on, Sue? So looking at your reports a little bit and catching people doing great things, right? You may not know that they had sales or they had a new consultant. You're like, oh my gosh, Marilyn, tell me about Michelle who just joined your team. And then let it go from there. So within your group, doing some of that. And then 2 hours for building leaders. Who are your next up and coming TCs, sales leaders? Again, get to know some of your reports that show you what they're doing, and you can call and recognize them and praise them for what they're doing, and then ask them the questions. Oh my goodness, how did you find Heather? Where did you find her? And you can see what their goals are, and maybe a husband just lost a job, or maybe their car broke down and all of a sudden they need income. You never know. Because I will tell you, you already know this, not everybody in your team will be engaged at all the time, but things change and happen for people. So if you can make some of those ICU calls from seeing what's happening, you might be blessing some people with some income. So what I did with this 10-hour plan is I spent 2 hour and I worked my business full time. So you have to think about this from your perspective. And again, it could be 15 minutes a week in each of these 5 key areas. We'll tell you we'll start growing those areas when you spend that time on there. But I would do Monday was my day to work on my personal schedule. So filling up what I didn't have going on, doing a little host coaching or whatever it was. Tuesday was my team building. Wednesday was focused on new consultants. It was just I knew what I was doing on those days, and I set business hours. Like I would sit at my desk. I had a kitchen table was what I sat at for a long time, but I would sit there and I would focus those hours. And before I stopped working that 2 hours, I looked at what was next and jotted down a couple of people to get me started of who I was going to talk to about team building, which was my next day focus. It doesn't mean that's all I did, but I found that focusing on that helped me blend and balance my business really, really well. And then another thing I'm going to tell you as a leader to maximize and just, Melanie, I could spend all evening with you guys um, and tell me stop talking. I'm so passionate about this industry and about helping people. I've been so blessed to help people, and I'll close with one of my favorite stories about that. But I just was so passionate about helping people achieve things because we're gifted with that opportunity. And not many people can say, let me help you get that. And we can't go on Facebook and go, hey, I'm going to help Sue get a car, right? Because the wonderful FTC doesn't like to see that kind of stuff. But you can do that in person and you can find out what people want and help keep it in front of them. And when they kind of lost some of their why, because some of those things happened, I would say, okay, do you still want that sofa? And especially for new consultants, I tried to have them pick something that the family would see. And I talked about sofas a lot. If you know me and heard me, I don't know why I picked sofas, but I helped somebody earn one a really long time ago. But why I like something like that is just a couple of parties, you can buy it, and the kids and the husband are sitting on the sofa watching a movie, right? They're sitting on it going, we have this new sofa because of Mom's Norwex business. That's pretty cool. And that's why every new consultant should have a goal of what they want to spend their first income from their business on. They had to tell me something because then instead of going, well, you need to get parties, I'm like, okay, Dunya, okay. So I know you wanted to take the kids to the theme park. Okay. And we talked about, and I always quantify it. How much is it? How much are the tickets? Okay, that's about this, you can always do Norwex math. If you sell $1,000, 35%, you made $350. So $350 is going to get you that. So $1,000 in sales. Let's talk about how you're going to get it. I wanted to know what you wanted because that for me made this business so much fun as well. Is that I have been blessed over all of these years to help people do incredible, incredible things. And we as a family got to do incredible, incredible things because of this business. So I'm going to end with this story, and then you can ask me whatever questions you want. But I was a regional with another company at the time, and I'd met this wonderful woman named Erin, and she had joined because she wanted a play system. She said, I want to get a play system for the kids. So in my head, I'm thinking like a game thing, that you would hook up to your TV. What do you call those things? I don't even remember anymore. My son had plenty of those, but like I don't know what today is. It a Game Boy? I don't know what it was. A PlayStation?
Yeah,
They call them now.
PlayStation.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have those in our home. I guess waiting for the grandkids. Anyway, so she wanted that. So I'm like, okay, how much is it? So we did math. Okay, this is how much you need to sell. I love party math too. If you know what your party averages are, 600 is a pretty safe party. So you could say if you had two $600 parties, and then do the math that way. So you can quantify it with Okay, get this many parties on your book. And that's going to get you that play system, right? So she got it. I found out later it was a swing set. And I'm thinking you're getting some game thing, but she meant swing set. So we got the swing set. And then I'd say, okay, before she got it, I'm like, so you're almost there. What's next? What are you going to go after now? Don't let them get there. Go, what's next? This has been so much fun. Oh my gosh, I can see the kids swinging on the swing set, not playing with the little thing in their hand, right? So I said, what's next? So we would do that. And Erin and I kept doing, and Erin is just one example. Okay, what's next? Okay, let's go get it. How much do you need in sales? How many parties do you need? Okay, great. Work on that. When do you want to do it by? This is another thing. When do you want to earn that by? Okay, now what's next? So we've been doing this for a year, maybe 2 years. And I finally said, Erin, what do you really want? I mean, what are you passionate about that you really want? And oh gosh, I'll cry because we're both crying. She said, I want to buy the family farm. She grew up on this family farm in Wisconsin, and they weren't going to be able to buy it. Ben worked a full-time job, more than a full-time job. Then he'd come home and farm. It wasn't in the cards. And I'm like, well, let's go buy the family farm. I mean, let's just look at what is it going to take to buy the family farm. They're still living on the farm they own that they bought from her parents that they would have had to give up. And so it's stories like that. They're not all as big as a family farm, but I've sent people, my family has had incredible vacations because of the business I'm in. You know those stories, you've heard those stories of things that people have been able to do. And some of it's as simple as, I don't want to work a 40-hour week and I just need this and I can work, this much time, or I need hospital bills I need to pay, or our car just went out and I need to repair that, there's so much that we can help people with. And it's getting personally involved with those who will let you, and the people who will not. I want you to say this. I want you to say, and I want you to get any guilt out of the way, is to say, I am right here. If you ever are wanting something in your business, I'm right here to partner with you and help you put together a plan. So just know all you need to do is pick up the phone or send me a text, and I'm right here. And then I let it go because my time is most valuable building my business and building up people who want to do something with the business and want to move into leadership. And I got rid of any guilt because I always said, I'm right here. You need me. All you need to do is reach out. And then I worked with the people, and they would pop up once in a while with $500 in sales. So watching your numbers to go, oh my gosh, Michelle, you just had $500 in sales. Tell me what happened. And you know what you just made? Do your 35% math. Do some of those ICU calls. That was in building my group or building leaders. I would do those kind of things. So I hope some of that's helped.
That's
Um,
amazing. You know what I'm hearing, Kathy, as you're talking, that 10-hour plan, whether people make it 1 hour per thing or 15 minutes per thing, what I heard is how you're kind of breaking out your week and you're very intentional about community building, about
yeah.
making those personal connections, one conversation at a time, and being very intentional about how you listen to really get to know the others. And I loved what you said. I find a need and fill it. So I love that. You're
Mhm.
not like, how many parties? What do you want? You're like,
Mhm.
it's just so personal that it comes across as just so natural in the conversations, right? Wow, grandma, your ears are so perked open and you're listening
Mhm.
so that you're like, oh, you want that grandma fund? Let's get it.
Mhm.
What do you want next now?
And then it was
Take them to
never
Disney?
about,
Let's go to Disney.
yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. Sometime I'll tell you about the trip to Universal Studios I took my family on and had to go from 8 personal parties to 36 in about 4 days in order to do what we wanted to do. But we did it, and it was all me doing it with the family. But I wanted to know that I was helping other people, and in turn, it helped me and blessed my family. And in turn, I was more blessed than the people I got to work with because it was such a joy to help other people do things that they want to do. So you can even go through your team right now. If you thought about somebody else or you think about somebody that you just love and you haven't seen them for a while, and just say, you know what, Alice, I'm calling you because we're grandma friends, and I was just thinking about you and just wanted to reach out and say, gosh, I've missed talking to you. Whatever the truth is, it always had to come from my heart. And then to say, I know you've got a business sitting here, but didn't know if something's come up or you would love to do something more with the grandkids and you'd like my help to make some income for it. So I would do some of those reach outs in my time. I never was at a loss for people to call, but it was looking at the people I am putting my time into that I thought they would appreciate my time. So I just hope that your businesses are blessed to where you want them to be. And I'll hang on here. I'm home alone. Where is Dan? I just think he's taking care of his mama. We lost my father-in-law a few months ago, so he's in Colorado taking care of mama right now. But I'll stay on and answer any questions if you have it. But appreciate your time. And I wrote down all your names, so I will send you. This is a document that I put together and had it Norwexed 10-hour plan.
Oh,
So I will
nice.
send that to you guys.
Thank
As
you.
something that if it's ever something you want to do, and
Thank
want any
you.
help with it too, just let me know. Just let me know.
Are there any burning questions that people have? Any things that you've been thinking about as Kathy has been sharing? And would you like Kathy to come back to talk about any other things in particular? I would love to know if there's other areas you'd like us to delve into, or you talked about, Kathy, would you do a call where we dig into the why a little bit more? Like, how do you help people really, can we do that? How do you guys feel about that?
I love asking open-ended questions to find the why, and then what do you want with it, and then let's put the business together to make it work for you, right? Those are some of my favorite conversations, and then it's you partnering with them to go do the work. And you do a quick 5-minute follow-up. Okay, I know you were going to book 2 parties this week. How are you doing? What, did they go well? Or I tell them, text me when you get them, and then I'd know, those kinds of stuff. So I'd love to come back, and anytime. This is my favorite thing to do, is to hang out with you guys and share a little bit of what I've gleaned over the several decades of doing this amazing, amazing business. And you know what? It's the same. Technology has changed. People haven't changed. People were busy 36 years ago when I started. They were just as busy as they are now. But if people want it, they will find the time to do it with a little bit of help from you. They need our help. But doing this kind of group thing too is a great way to maximize your time and get like-minded people together. So what a fun group.
Awesome. No burning questions, guys. I'm seeing a lot. I don't know if you see the chat here. Lots of love in your wisdom and knowledge, Kathy. Thank you for great information. We'll have to learn to better manage my time, like the 2-hour blocks, those 5 segments, even if it's not 2 hours, because
Right.
it's not full time for all of us. So 2 hours
Right.
might be a lot, but I like that you can make it whatever, but just have those different focuses. Yeah, Heather was loving it. Had to go put the kids to bed. All good. Yes, lots of
That's a
positive
beautiful
things.
thing to do.
Yeah.
I miss that. Put my cat to
Any questions?
bed.
Hi, Dunya. I see your camera on.
I know, I love seeing Dunya.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
I didn't have a question. Sorry, I was in the middle of doing something else and I didn't want
That's okay. That's okay.
distraction with
I understand that.
me moving around in the background. But yeah, no, really awesome. A lot of little things that are, things that we heard before, like your why. I think it's like 8 levels deep or 9 levels deep, where you just keep like your why and then take something from there and you just keep going deeper and deeper. So that's always a great reminder. And open-ended questions, like, yeah, all the time. And then that way just, it's authentic that way as well. So yeah, just everything you said was really great. So very appreciated. Thank you. I can't think of a question right now, but
All good.
I'm sure I will.
All good. I have a feeling it's not our last call with Kathy.
I'm always here. I'm always here. I would tell you this working, I'm kind of, I've loved working with the Canadian team and this group, you guys. I've gotten to chat with lots of you before already too, and groups are, it's just such a blessing to have had this opportunity to spend extra time here and this finally going to do the leadership, and which means I still get to work with you guys too, even though you'll have a regional sales manager for those of you who on the eastern side, but I still get to do this, and I am here, kmitchell@norwex.com. I will always find time for you if you need anything at all
Amazing.
here. And Melanie, thank you. What a beautiful team you have built. Some pretty amazing people on your team.
I
That says
love
a
them
lot about
dearly.
you and them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they know you do.
All right. Well, I want to respect everybody's time, so we are going to sign off. But I would love to have you back, Kathy. So let's chat. And if you're sitting here listening and they're like, "Hey, I'd like to dive more into this, or I'd like to dive more into that," and it comes to you later as you're thinking, send me a note. I would love to hear it. And if you're watching the replay and you're like, "Oh, I wish we talked more about this," or "I want to hear more about that," just send me a note and we can get Kathy to delve into some different things with us.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Well, I think next time we need to do a wants tournament. It's one of my
A
favorite
what?
things.
A wants tournament?
It's one of my favorite things to do, to figure out what it is you want and hone in on it. And then we get
All
into
right.
why you want
Well,
it.
that sounds like a
And then we
plan.
quantify it by what do you need to do to go get what you want.
A wants tournament.
Wants tournament. Yeah.
See you next time for a wants
Okay.
tournament with Kathy. Sounds like a plan to me.
And I'll be in
All
Moncton
right.
this week. If you want to go all the way over to Moncton, come on over.
Yeah, I think these girls are all Ontario girls, the ones
It'd be
who
a
are
little
live
far.
right now. But we do have some Moncton girls. Well, we have some Miramichi girls that I let them know that you were going to be in Moncton. So hopefully you'll
Wonderful.
meet some of our Team Roots folks out there.
Hope so.
When is it again?
It is Thursday night. And I'll be
All
there with
right.
the amazing Kayla Carpenter. Like, who doesn't want to go see her?
Amazing. Kayla, who loves the spotlight.
Oh, I know. I'm telling her, well, Kayla, what are you presenting? She's like, just stop talking to me.
She does not like the spotlight. It's amazing. All
All
right.
right, you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for blessing my evening. Appreciate you
All
all.
right. Good night.